Hello guys, welcome back to another cook. Today we are doing our Christmas ham. Probably everybody's favourite part of the Christmas dinner. I know it's definitely one of mine. If I had to pick between turkey and ham wins every time. So I've done a couple of different ones on the channel before. Usually they have a more savoury glaze on them, but today we are going full sweetness. We are going honey and maple. I've never done one like that before because my family actually prefer a more savoury glaze. That's why I tend to use more like mustards, and I've done marmalades and stuff before as well, but this one is going to be the good old traditional full sweetness ham. So this is a nice little joint from Hillstown Farm Shop. It's part of their rare breed middle white pigs. I'll leave a link in the description for them. You can, if you're in Northern Ireland, you can order online. They deliver all across the country, so definitely check them out. Their pork is unreal. It's all grown on their farm. And then they butcher it themselves too, so you know exactly where it's coming from. It doesn't have miles on it. So this is a nice looking roast. We do have the skin on it. I'm going to take that off. I don't want to roast it with it on. There's no real need to. We're not going to get this hot enough that it's going to get crackling or anything on it. There's a nice fat cap here. We're going to try and keep some of that on. We're going to score it, stud it with cloves, get it on with a little bit of smoke. Don't want too much on it. I don't want the whole Christmas dinner to taste of smoke, but a little touch on there does no harm. And then we're going to make up the maple and honey glaze to go onto it. So you guys can see what we're doing. I'll pull you in a little bit closer and we will get the skin off, get it prepped, and then I'll tie it up again. Then we'll talk over what goes into that glaze. Get it onto the board. Get the strings off it. Like I say, we are going to tie it up again. You can see there's a cut down the middle. It is one nice big eye of meat. There's kind of like two muscles here, but we don't want it this kind of flat shape for cooking. We want to pull it together into a nice big round roast. So once we get the skin off, we score it again, then we'll tie it up and then start to stud it. Just work underneath, get rid of the skin. Try and keep that fat on there. So that has left a nice little layer of fat on there. It's not too thick, so it should render down pretty well whenever we're cooking it. Now we're going to go ahead and score it with a crosshatch. Now I'll just open up that fat cap layer, let some of the seasoning get down in between so it gets into the meat. Roll off a couple of lengths of string, work back underneath it. I cannot do butcher's knots to save my life, so as long as it's held together, that should be fine. Second one, take the excess off. Okay, so we're just going to use a little bit of Dijon Mustard as a binder over that fat cap. Remove the glove. Lots of pepper. Tiny little bit of salt. Now we're going to come in with some whole cloves and start to stud in that fat cap. Get the ham all studded, ready to go on. We're just going to let that chill out for a minute or two to the side while we get the glaze ready for it. I have the KJ Classic 2 fired up. It's sitting 170, 180-ish, probably the ideal temperature. I don't want to go too high on it. I want to take this for maybe a couple of hours, although it just depends what temperature it goes to, and then that gives us time to build up that glaze on it. But while the barbecue's heated up, we're going to throw a little saucepan on there and just warm the glaze through a little bit, just to dissolve the sugar down in it. We don't need to boil it or keep it warm for any length of time. We just want to get that first dissolve done. So we'll throw this to the side and we'll get everything weighed out for that glaze. It's time to cook. So we'll start off 100 grams of light brown sugar, 80 grams of honey, 80 grams of maple syrup. Did tell you it was sweet. And lastly, a little bit of savoury. And lastly, a little bit of savoury, we're going to go in with a big heap tablespoon of Dijon. And that's everything that's into it. So we're going to put that over the heat just to dissolve down those sugars. You see, this is why we really don't want the heat building up in the barbecue, because this will just burn and go black. We'll stick it on for a little bit, get it warmed through just enough to dissolve the sugar, then we can put the ham on. Okay, that's been in for 5 minutes or so, just enough to warm it through, kind of make it a bit more liquid. The sugar has dissolved. I haven't brought it to the boil, we just warmed it. So that can come off until we need it. Next up, we'll get our wood chunk in. Put a drip pan in below. Boiling water in it. Catch any of that fat that renders off. Then we can go on with our ham. Now, for this, we're going to use the thermopane smoke just to monitor the temperature of it. Measure out roughly where the centre of the meat's going to be. Push it into the thickest part. Close down, let it cook. Alright, now we just let smoke roll on it. I think I'm going to give it maybe about 40 minutes or so before we start to glaze it. I want a bit of time for that fat cap to render down before we start building up any colour on it. But the thermopane smoke is going to kind of keep an eye on it and tell us when our temperatures are getting close. We're going to lift it off around 62°C and then we can rest it up to around 65. So for a ham, I think that's a perfect internal temperature. If we start to glaze too early, there's a chance it'll catch, so I don't want that to happen. So we'll keep an eye on it. Whenever it's time to put the glaze on, I'll bring you guys back, obviously, to follow along with it. But for now, we'll just let it run its course. Okay, it has been just over an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes or so. Temperature wise, we're sitting 46°C, so we're 20 degrees off. Now is the time where I'm going to start brushing it with the glaze. So the glaze has been sitting, keeping warm over on top of the RB73. Perfect use case for it. And just take some of that glaze, drizzle it over the top and brush it in. Remember to brush in the ends. As it warms, it'll run down through those cracks. That's good for a first one. Keep your drip pan topped up. Keep your temperatures pretty regulated around that 170, 180. Close that down, let it set up. We're going to come back with 15-20 minutes and apply another coat of it. Okay, we are currently half a degree away from our temperature. I brush that glaze on every 20 minutes or so. It has been on for around 2 hours. So from the last time we talked, it was on for about an hour. Every 20 minutes I put the glaze on. We've just passed our last 20 minutes, but I've put all the glaze on, so there's nothing else to do. We're literally just about to come off. Once it comes off, then I'm going to rest it up to 65°C. So it's going to kind of carry on cooking a little bit. So we'll leave the thermopane smoke in there just to monitor the temperature. We'll let it rest for sort of 15 minutes or so, and then we're going to slice it up and give it a taste. I have a feeling I'm going to like this one. I do like sweet ham, nobody else does. That's just the kind of person I am, that I make savoury hams all the time. Right, I'm ready for this. Let's give it a taste test. It is super dark, so I hope you can see me, but the ham is off, it is rested, it tastes amazing, it smells amazing. I have had a sneak taste of it now. You can't blame me for that. So we rested up to 65, carried over a little bit, maybe 65 and a half or so, but in and around that. As you can see, it's kind of kept it nice and moist. It's still super pliable, juicy, the fat has rendered down on it nicely. Well happy with it. There's no need to cook your ham on any further. Also, there's no real need to boil it first. I know a lot of people would boil their ham first, but I prefer just to roast them straight out. But now for the taste test. Oh man, that is banging. Oh, that's so good. I don't know why, hopefully this will maybe convert them a little bit. I don't know why my family don't like sweet hams, because the saltiness that's in the ham is so well counteracted by the sweetness of the glaze. It's so tender. Yeah, I could wolf the whole thing down. And it's such a good quality ham as well. That makes all the difference. There isn't loads of fat running through it, or no hard bits, or everything's been kind of trimmed out. The quality of the pork's really good. So I will link Hillstown Farm Shop down below if you do want to order one for yourself. I'm not sure about delivery times and stuff for Christmas, but get in there fast, you won't be disappointed. Or call down and see them. You also have to try their beef. This isn't sponsored, by the way. I just love buying my food from them. The quality of their food is unreal. So recipe will be in the description box below. There are a few other ham recipes, etc. on the website and on the YouTube channel if you want to try something different, if sweet hams aren't for you. But I highly recommend you give it a go. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.